revere. And here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
Hello racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Hastings races on Saturday, May the 3rd, and of course we'll touch on the big race of the afternoon.
Kentucky Derby Day, Kentucky. Absolutely. The biggest day in our sport. This is it. It doesn't get any bigger than the Kentucky Derby, and field of 19. They're down to with opportunity scratching. As of taping right now, we just watched Untappable in the Kentucky Oaks. She absolutely destroyed the field, went off at even money, and ran like it. Could have been more impressive.
Impressive. I know. Had 13 hole, didn't matter. She went three wide the whole race and just toyed with her competition. But Untappable for Steve Asmussen, and Rosie Napravnik wins the Kentucky Oaks as of taping. But we'll quickly touch on last week. We had two great stakes races. We did have the Big House Bells and the George Royal. George Royal. Big run from title contender. He is the top contender right now. A nice ride up the rail by Rico Walcott for Peter Redekop and Anita Bolton.
Absolutely. He looks like he is going to be the older horse here this year that you have to beat. I mean, he made it look pretty easy, ran off on him. We will touch on, is that today or tomorrow? There's an allowance race for older horses. I believe that's on the Sunday card, where you see Commander and Wildcat, some of those guys will get to stretch their legs too as the season goes on. But right now, title contender is your early favorite in the older horse category.
Yeah, it was impressive, and congratulations to Peter Redekop and the connections for a very impressive win with title contender. Twist Grips was second, and Senior
big price. Twist Grips coming in at a big price.
Rolling on the
outside to pass Senior Rojo and get second.
Yeah, and in the Big House Bells, it was an exciting finish. Hollywood Miss for the North American Thoroughbred Corp. Troy Taylor had just edged out fast-closing Madeira Park, who ran a big race. But that division looks very competitive. That's probably the older horse gelding division will be more competitive as they all assemble later on in the year for the big races. But congratulations.
That girls division looks really good, yeah.
But congratulations to the connection of Hollywood Miss and Aaron Greider. Nice to see him back in town for the opening weekend. Well, we got 7 races on tap. We'll touch on them right now. We'll head into the first race at Hastings. First post at 150. Got a field of 5. Fillies to go, 25,000 claimers to go, 6 furlongs. I landed on the one, Officer Mary. I'm going to take a shot on her. Might not be the best filly in the race, have the best numbers anyway, but I just think she might have the right running style. She wants to come from out of it. Yeah. And I see the other 4 fillies wanting to dart off to the lead, and I can see some a little bit of a congestion up front. No one really getting it too easy on the head end. So I'm hoping for a good trip for the one, Officer Mary, who had a nice win. I know it's Turf Paradise, a little easier circuit, but her and On the Edge, who ran second, were almost 6 lengths clear of the third horse. So I thought it was an encouraging return to the races for Officer Mary. Gets Amadeo Perez. That's always a plus. Yep. I'm going to try her to win it. But the 2-horse Miss Sticky, the obvious choice on form. Nice debut win, but went to the sidelines early, but been working well for Top Connections. You must respect this horse. Wouldn't shock me to see this horse win by 5 lengths, but I mean, just with all the other pace in the race, maybe things might be a little difficult off the layoff for Miss Sticky. And I put the 5-horse Hey Did You Notice in for third. I ran some good races in stakes events, and this filly's all right. She ran some nice races against restricted company, but just a little concerned with the outside draw in a 5-horse field, 6 furlongs. Three of the inside 4 horses want the lead, but maybe she can outbreak them, or we'll see. But she won her first out last year. Well, she runs well fresh. I went 1, 2, and 5. I'm going to try Officer Mary.
I have the same horses, which is not surprising. It is a 5-horse field. I got Miss Sticky on top, as you mentioned. Top Connections, and only ran the once last year, but made no mistake. Just ran off on 1 by 5. I think there's more in the tank there, so I got Miss Sticky on top. I put Hey Did You Notice in the second spot. Look at who she was running against last year. Architecture, Ole's Miss. You know, she was running against the top fillies. Now she shows up right out of the box for 25 this year. And with Phil Hall, Richard Hamill, I think that makes her very much a contender in here. And Officer Mary, Jim Brown, Amadeo Perez, and the 1 hole, as you mentioned. Another one that wouldn't be surprised to see what it is. You did pick her on top. I got 2, 5, and 1 in the first. On to the second, Maiden, 5,000 for fillies and mares. I landed on a bit of a flyer here, and I will give you my reason. I went to the 4 Macho Woman. Really good connections here with Tracy McCarthy, Canmore Farms, Amadeo Perez. They paid a pretty penny for this one. Obviously isn't turning out to be what they thought, but they put her in for maiden 5. I don't see a whole lot in the race. I think if she can run at all to her breeding or anything, her works aren't awful. 101 and 4, They're slow, but not horrible for this kind of caliber. She gets Amadeo Perez. I threw her on top. You're probably going to even get a little bit of a price on her. The second spot, I went to number 7, Jamila, or Hamila, depending on how you try and pronounce that one. Because this one's been running. It ran a couple times over the winter. It was made in special weight at Portland, which, I mean, those aren't very tough races.
Got some education.
But exactly, got some dirt in her face, and it wasn't made in special weight down there, which probably I think would translate to around a $10,000 or $15,000 level here. So it is a drop in the maiden 5 level here. Pat Jarvis knows how to have them ready too. She had a really good meet last year.
Career year last year.
She's great. Somebody to keep an eye on again this year. And the third spot, I put number 6, probably your favorite. That's the Spirit out of the John Snow Barn. One that's been running high its whole career. They dropped her down last year. Just got beat 3/4 of a length in her last start last year. She's obviously the one you could look to that's going to be a favorite here. I got her in the third spot, 4, 7, 6 for me.
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with this race. There's not a lot of form to go on. There's not a lot of good form to go on. So you're really
I went to a horse
trying
house,
to
never ran,
grind and try and get something out of nothing. And I ended up on the 6. That's the Spirit. A horse that John Snow thought enough of to start this horse for maiden allowance. And the horse stayed up there for the first 2 or 3 starts of her campaign last year. And at the end of the year, when down for 5,000, I thought the horse ran admirably. I like the work tab coming back. His horses were ready first week. You like to pay attention to barns that have done well early in the year. And if you look, like John had a great opening week. Like Twist Grips. There was Ice Rules one. I mean, a lot of the horses ran well. It tells you that they're, and the whole barn started at the same time of year training, and with no hiccups. You can probably surmise that these horses are really ready to run, and I like That's the Spirit. As you mentioned, not a tough spot for any of these horses, so I think that this horse is ready to roll. Likely speed of the race, and I like That's the Spirit for Freddie Manrique and the irons. The 3-horse, Finally Sarah, I put through this horse in. I know there's more there in the tank, but I know this horse has done some silly things in the paddock and been a bit of a goofball at times. Not the most best actor, but I mean, perhaps might be a little better behaved now as a 4-year-old or older horse. And the works are good. For Pedro Alvarado, had a career year last year. And, I put those 2 on top. I put the 5 Avery on for good buddy Donnie Rowe in for third. This horse has some speed, and work tab's not bad as well. But speed's dangerous going 6 furlongs, so I don't mind her at all. I went 6, 3, and 5 in a race that you could make a case for a lot of them. On to the third race. We have a maiden special weight. This is the first half of the split of the maiden special weight. The race drew, I believe, 15 or 16. Actually, it drew 16 horses. Ended up getting 8 in both ends, and a lot of high hopes for the maidens, in the filly division, giving them a shot up high. I ended up on the 7, Sensational Beauty for Troy Taylor, and the Summit Racing and North American Thoroughbred coming up from the Bob Baffert barn. Couldn't cut it on the head end in those maiden races at Santa Anita, but this is not Santa Anita. So
and look at the price she was too, right? She was
well back. Well, Baffert's horses get well back, so I mean it's a little. But the Sensationals are very nice horses. The Sire Sensational, he was a pretty cool sprinter, and I just think this horse with Sal Gonzalez Jr. is going to be pretty live. I put the 2-horse Fire Beauty, so we got a Beauty exactor here, Sensational Beauty over Fire Beauty. Fire Beauty got an obvious form on the horse. Look at the second last year in a stake. This horse has hit the board lots in her career already, and unlucky not to be a winner. Gets Amadeo Perez, lots to like. Mel Snow's horses were ready first week as well. So this horse is live. The 2 and 7 for me are interchangeable. And I put the 6-horse. I dig that for John Snow in for third. This horse has got a pile of the speed, and once again, only 6 furlong speed. I know not the speed was dominating last week. Actually, closers did quite well. It was a pretty fair track. But like the works, 59 and change minute. This horse has obviously been doing some good things in the morning. Might be a little bit better than she was last year. And I always like taking 4-year-olds over 3-year-olds at Hastings, especially at this time of year, early in the year. So this one might get overlooked at the mutuals. You might want to put this one in. I went 7, 2, and 6 in Hastings third.
I have the same top 2 as you mentioned. Sensational Beauty coming out of Santa Anita, where she's running maiden special weights. Been training right along, looks good. We've worked at 59 and 2 here just last week or so.
Good move.
Fire Beauty, another one, Mel Snow, Amadeo Perez, Top Connections. As you mentioned, a horse that was running in tough races, second in the fantasy behind Architecture, and ahead of Ole's Miss. In the third spot, I went with a bit of a flyer, the Day Force horse, Island Rain, out of Make Contact, who was a very nice mare here, ran here years ago, by Langford. The works look good, minute and 4/5, and gets Joey Steiner, who's coming up to join our jockey colony here. So I got 7, 2, and 1 in the third. On to the fourth. The other part of the split, the fillies and mares made in the special weight. I've gone to the 7 horse.
This is beautiful. It's a horse that starts with the letter M.
Mariglianella.
Close enough. I know Dan will have fun with this. But I know Dan will have done his homework and done it. But I'll get a hold of Nick and Pauline and find out.
This was the sales topper at the horse 2 years ago that everybody was waiting.
We can say Taylor said.
Taylor said, and Taylor's deal. This is one everybody's waiting, looking to run last year. She never made a start at 2, but she does in her first start out, her first weekend out, first chance out this year. And the mare is throwing incredible horses. By Stefano's full brother to Taylor's deal. So we'll see. I put her on top. Gets Amadeo Perez. Amadeo, I'm sure, has been...
Mariglianella.
I think it's a pasta dish or something maybe for Mr. Felicella. Gets Amadeo Perez. I guarantee Amadeo Perez has been working this filly all along. Yeah. He would have had a lot of options in these races. He would have had a lot of horses that he could have chose from. He sticks with her. That's good enough for me. I put her on top. The second spot, I put Irish Lyric. Our good friend Praven Sorensen's charge in here, 3-year-old filly.
Fan of the Derby.
Was kind of starting to put it together later on in their starts last year. She ran 4 times. Her last start only got beat a length and a quarter. That was in a maiden 25, but been working pretty good this year, and I don't mind Irish Lyric at all. I've heard in the third spot. In the second spot, sorry. In the third spot, again, I put the Forester horse in with Joey Steiner, Flatter You. Her best move was a second in a maiden special weight last year. She did get a lot of schooling, and with the Flatter and an out-of-place mare, she's going to get better as she gets older, so I'm looking maybe her 3-year-old year, she's improved. I got 7, 4, and 8.
Yeah, I ended up on the 5-horse blended, and this horse ran against the boys in her final start of 2013 and against Brother Chunky and Farniente. And I thought it was a pretty good effort. She carved some pretty fast fractions and gets back in against the fillies. Respect the connections, good works, and once again, speed. I'm hoping that speed does well, and I've got quite a few speed horses on my selections other than the first race where I took a closer where there's a pile of speed in the race. But blended for me and Frank Fuentes, I think could be your leader and be quite dangerous. I put the 7-horse Mariglianella for Lenore Dubois and the Felicellas, as you mentioned. Impeccable pedigree, works are good. Wouldn't be surprised to see this horse be a real superstar. She's live. And I put the 1-horse Queen Militant for Sylvia Gregory. It was an uncanny ability for getting 2- and 3-year-olds to run very well. Yeah. And the work tab on this filly is very good. She had the 1 start last year, slow early, so you can probably just got a little experience. And I was turned out. I think she'll be a lot better this year. She gets Lasix and a nice favorable post with Keyshawn Balgobin in the irons, who's a very capable young rider. I went 5, 7, and 1, but I like the 5-horse for Tracy McCarthy. That's blended. On to the 5th race, the first of our 2 stakes races on the program. This is the Jip Coleman Province for 3-year-olds. Got a field of 9 signed on to go 6.5 for long. Going to back up the gate to 6.5 for this one, and I chalked out here with the 9-horse, Never a Better Cause. I think the draw is good for this colt and should get a good trip sitting on or near the lead, kind of be able to come down from his outside gate and kind of get into find a spot anyway. This horse was very versatile last year, ran some huge races. Looks like he's continuing on. His work tab has been very good. He had a very, not a lengthy campaign, but he had a tough schedule as a 2-year-old. And he stood up to it all, but I like his work tab.
Yeah, because he didn't really start running until August, right?
But he got piled on in the last part of the year and had to run against some nice colts and still run very well. But he looks like he's doing well with his, judging by his work tab for Pat Jarvis. Put the 2-horse Majestic Mark, who was behind him a lot last year. Let's see which one develops. Because horses changed from 2 to 3 over the winter, and the Majestic Mark was an expensive yearling purchase. And this one could move forward. He's been training well, once again, for the Felicellas and Lenore Dubois, and wouldn't be surprised to see those two. They're pretty interchangeable for me, the 2 and the 9. And I put the 5-horse, Richter Red, pretty cool horse for a small outfit. Broussard does a great job with the little stable that he has. Got a group of people that work at the track that own this Gelding and
Joel
they just
and,
have a little
Susie,
little bit of cash, and they put it together. They bought this horse, and it's kind of cool that the horse is undefeated. Won a couple of claiming races last year, and he looked good. He won. He's a little professional, this horse, and as I said, Bruce did a great job. Richard Hamill will ride for the injured Jeff Birmingham, and the work tab's been good. Put this one in for third, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them put a little scare into the top two.
Absolutely.
I went 9, 2, and 5.
I'd like to see him win it because of the connections, absolutely. I went to the 7 Song of Victory, one of your likely favorites in here, the Troy Taylor horse, Mark DiDomenico.
Yeah, I left him off. I'd probably remiss in leaving him right off the ticket. He's probably going to be
probably should have won. He's only run the once. So it was a maiden special weight at Golden Gate. Those races are dirty tough down there. You run into some really nice horses there, and got beat 3/4 of a length, and probably should have won that day. He's got the race under his belt recently that a lot of these horses don't have. That tipped me his way. That he worked in 47 the other day. He gets Saul Gonzalez Jr., Troy Taylor. It's just
lots of positives.
Lots of positives. So I got him on top. The next horse I went to was Occupy Vancouver. This is another one that was running down in Golden Gate and running in good races. He broke his maiden down there. Then he was in those allowance 40 categories. Those are tough races.
Those
down
starter
there.
races.
The starter races are very tough down there. Blackford, the horse that he ran, only got beat a length and a half to last time. 2 starts back and won a maiden special weight. Again, like I said, those maiden special weights are you run into real horses. They're very tough there. So and he's been running. He was 52 to 1 that day, and he only led the whole way. Only got beat the last few jumps. So I don't mind Occupy Vancouver at all. I think he'll run a big one. And of course, Never Better Cause. Your top 2-year-old here last year. Pat Jarvis knows how to have horses ready. He will be bet right down though. I put him in the 3rd spot. I got 7, 8, 9 in the 5th. On to the 6th, the Ross McLeod Girls End. 6.5. 6.5 for the girls.
6 of them signed on. That's
6 of them signed on, going 6.5. 3-year-old fillies. I went to the 3 Arabella's Muse. Only got to see her run twice last year. The Leaf Nordahl, Tony Cluche filly. She was very hyped up before she ever ran. Everybody was talking about her. And for good reason. When she won, I mean, she absolutely destroyed the field and blew turns and just did everything.
So much horse. She was just so much horse. She was just getting out at times
too
just
fast
because she was just,
to go around the turn.
Just trying to get her to rate
it went in 16 and 2. It couldn't have been more impressive. Came back in the Futurity and went in 16 flat. And again, just absolutely no competition. We will see how she turns into 3, but there's no way I'm not going to pick her on top. She just has too much talent. The 2nd spot, I went to the 6 2-pump for Marianne Baumgartner. This is a horse that Corsair Holy's had with Jeff Bondy and won one of those allowance races, one of those starter races at Golden Gate by clear lengths for under Frank Alvarado for Jeff Bondy, who's the top conditioner down there. So this horse comes in running, fit, and ready. Out of a top stable down there, the Jeff Bondy barn. So I got 2-pump in the 2nd spot. And the 3rd spot, Ollie's Miss, another highly touted filly. Did break her maiden here last year in a stake, and 3rd another stake in the fantasy. She's got quite a bit of talent too, the daughter of Officer. I got her in the 3rd spot. I got 3, 6, 1.
Yeah, I like the 3. Arabella's Muse is a monster. She is, I mean, she was like a 3-year-old in a 2-year-old body last year, and she was just impressive. And from what reports are, she looks every bit as good this spring. She's dominant. She's going to dominate. I think she is going to dominate.
If she has stayed the same, let alone take a step forward, if she just stayed the same.
And looks the part. She's blossomed. She might even be better, which is scary. The Nordahls, of course, will race her here. I mean, Leaf and Karen have been in the business for a long time. And
tried and true Hastings guy,
Yeah, and of course they raced the mare Excited Miss, who was a champion filly as well. So this filly is not an accident. This is this filly's bred
to be a license to do it.
To be a nice horse, and she is. She's your horse. I put the 4-horse Architecture in for 2nd, just because she's just done everything right. She's a professional.
She is tough.
Maybe she's not as good. I don't know. Maybe, she might move forward, but I mean, she did it. She's a pro.
Yeah.
I mean, Dino did a great job with her, and she was a professional. She did everything last year perfect, and just a little racehorse. And sometimes professional racehorses with good talent will beat an exceptional horse with that might waste energy or not be as professional. So, but she's a pro. I put her in for 2nd, and I put the 1-horse Ollie's Miss, who's another gifted filly. 3 talented. Actually, this is a great race. Like 6 of the horses in here, 6 horses in here. Like 3 or 4 of them they're top. They'd be favored anywhere in the Northwest.
Yeah.
In any stake if they would stay away from each other.
Pureborn's filly, Chew and You.
I mean,
she's got a very impressive record.
Filly, and today is the day's undefeated. 2-pump. Nice run for Jason Lorraine, who's Corsair Holdings in Northern California. Comes in fit and ready. Good race. It's a really good race. But Arabella's Muse, I think, is cut above.
Yeah.
On to the 7th and final race. We got some optional 50s here. Fillies and mares here going 6 furlongs. I ended up on the 3-horse Market Way. Don't think she was a big fan of the Poly track or the Tapeta track down at Golden Gate. Some horses like it, some don't. And they'll tell you right away. They're either on the board or running well, or they're distanced. And she didn't like it at all. She wasn't even working great over it. She got back here to Hastings working well. I like Market Way to win it for Sal Gonzalez. I put the other Troy Taylor trainee, the 5-horse, I think. So they look to be the speed of the race, too. There's no speed in this race. You look in here, all these horses come from out of it. Yeah. And I think the Troy Taylor runners are going to dominate on the pace, and they're probably the more gifted horses in the race anyway. So they're getting tactical edge and a physical edge, so it's going to be tough to beat them. So I put them on top, and I think the best older, because these are 3-year-old or 4-year-old fillies, freshly turned 4-year-old fillies. I think the best older mare is the 9 Turlani. She drew poorly going 6 furlongs. I think she's good. She blew out smartly in 22 and change this morning. And if those two don't run well, they better run very, very well. Both Market Way and I think so, or Turlani will win the money with a decent trip, and she'll just need a little bit of luck.
And she's got Amadeo, who won a couple opening days. It'd be tough.
3, 5, and 9. I did go to Market Way.
I went to the 5. I think so. She is like top sprinter. You know, when she sprints, she is so tough. Her first start here last year.
It's been off so long. That was my only concern, was the length of time. Like, she went to the sidelines.
Yeah.
And didn't go to California, and that's my only. That was my only.
That's your the one hiccup that you're worried about.
Yeah.
But her first run here last year, which was in the Ross McLeod, the race they won before this. She was super impressive. 1 by 5 and 16 and 1, and just anything close to that, she's your winner. The second spot, I put Secret Cove. This is an interesting horse. It's coming up from Golden Gate, coming from the Blaine Wright barn. Was running for $25,000 down there, which is, those are salty, you know, kind of mare types, and she was right in the hunt, and she's fit, she's ready. She comes into the Pat Jarvis barn from the Blaine Wright barn, gets Frank Fuentes. I put her in the second spot. And the third spot, I put Turlani, as you mentioned, by far the most accomplished. Oh, one thing I was going to say about Secret Cove too, she's been claimed a fair bit down in you know, transitioning from Southern California to Northern California, but she's made $240,000, which blows everybody else in the field away. So that's something that I looked at. And the third spot, I put Turlani, who you mentioned is definitely the toughest of the older mares here. And anybody kind of misses a beat, she'll be right on top of you and she could beat you. I got her in the third spot. I got 5, 3, and 1. Now we move on to the one that everybody will be watching.
The 140th running.
40th running of the Kentucky Derby. Field of 19 will go postward. Opportunity, the Bob Baffert trainee, Mike Pegram's horse, is out. It has been scratched. And the Wesley Ward horse, who could have drawn in, elected not to. So that horse does not draw in. So I went way out
20
to 20, which will now be 19.
Okay.
Wicked Strong. California Chrome is obviously the horse to beat. He's going to be the favorite. He's been absolutely demolishing the horses in California. I don't know how tough those horses he's been running against in California are. I have a feeling the winner's going to come from the East. I took Wicked Strong. He worked his 36 and 3 2 days ago at Churchill. He obviously was taken to that track well. I loved his last race in the Wood. The 19 hole doesn't bother me at all either. 2 years ago, Mario, of course, won, and I'll have another coming out of the 19 hole. You come out of there, this is a horse that likes to just, you know, sit and pound style. He's going to get to pick exactly where he sits, and if he gets a good trip, let him run down the lane. I think he's your horse. I put California Chrome in second for obvious reasons. He's your favorite. He's a horse that's improving, winning by open lengths. And third spot, I went to a bit of a shot here. This is a horse I don't think should be a big price, though, is Sam Rott.
Samrat, that's it.
If I'm saying that right?
Yep.
Another one out of the Wood, ran second to Wicked Strong last time. 6 starts, 5 wins, 1 second in the Wood. Ultra impressive record on his side. If you put that 1 second that he had a couple races back, he'd probably be 5 to 1, not 15 to 1 morning line. I went, what are the numbers?
20.
5, 6. Wicked Strong, California Chrome, Samrat.
The old 25-6 tractor.
25-6 tractor. Those are my lucky numbers.
I've gone to the 5-horse California Chrome. He's I don't know. He's done nothing wrong. He's a cool horse. You want to cheer for him. He's a Calbred.
Yeah. Art Sherman.
Art Sherman used to ride here at Hastings back in the late 60s and early 70s. You pull for people that you know, and his sons, Al and Steve, train horses in California.
Absolutely. I would like to see him win it. Yeah.
I know, we know them well, and it'd be nice to see California Chrome win the money. Nicely drawn in gate 5 as well. The long shot for me is the 17 horse Commanding Curve, who has been familiarized with Churchill Downs. This horse broke its maiden at Churchill Downs, ran big races last year at Churchill, but his first 2 starts this year at the fairgrounds, he ran into paceless races, and I just think he's been set up nicely for the race. I think he's a 1.25 mile horse. I think there's going to be a pace in the race, and once again, he's back on his best surface, Churchill Downs, and that's a big plus, because sometimes horses for courses will, a horse that likes a certain course will beat a horse that, that is better than him, that has no familiarity with the course, because Churchill isn't an easy track to be on. So Commanding Curve, I put this one in for Sean Bridgman. He had a choice of a couple other horses. I know we're splitting hairs because he had a couple of long shots to choose from, but I like Commanding Curve to be in there, and I put the 18 Candy Boy, who tried to win the race last time, and I think that hurt him. He tried to go out there on the pace with California Chrome. That's not the way the horse wants to run. I think this horse is better suited to just taking back and making one run, and I think Gary Stevens will do that. And he's another one that could come rolling late, because I see quite a bit of speed in the race. And there always is a pace in the Kentucky Derby. It just seems like people get a little nervous, and seems like they're going slow, and all of a sudden they lay at 22 and 4 up there.
Yeah, they're always
and now
smoking.
the back runners are in play. And I put Candy Boy in there. I know he's better than his last race indicates anyway, because he did go out there and try and win the race on the pace, and they found out that that's not the way he wants to run. They'll get him back off the pace in the Derby. So I went 5, 17, and 18.
You're all California horses.
Yeah, I know. I'm the Cal horse. Or no, Commanding Curve is
a Midwest horse.
Yeah, but that'll do it for analysis of the Saturday program. Next up on screen will be a quick look at our selections. Here are mine. Back in race number 1 at Hastings, I went to the 1 horse. Officer Mary, 1-2-5. The second race went 6-3-5. That's the spirit for John Snow. Race number 3, I went to the 7, Sensational Beauty. I got a beauty exactor. Sensational Beauty over Fire Beauty. I went 7-2-6. Race number 4, I went to the 5 Blended, 5-7-1. Race number 5, the 9, Never a Better Cause over the 2 Majestic Mark and the 5 Richter Red. In the 6th race, the Ross McLeod, I went to the 3 Arabella's Muse over the 4-1, and the 7th and final, I went to the 3 Market Way. It's a 3-5-9 for me in the Saturday finale.
And on to me in the first, I went to the 2 Miss Dickey over the 5 and the 1. In the second, I went to the first time starter Macho Woman, the 4 over the 7 and the 6. In the third, I agree with Mike on number 7, Sensational Beauty over the 2 and the 1. In the fourth, I went to the 7, Marignaliana.
Yeah.
Over the 4
That's
and the 8.
why I didn't pick the horse.
Exactly.
I didn't want to say it for the 17th time.
In the fifth, I went to the 7, Song of Victory over the 8 and the 9. In the 6th, the Ross McLeod, I agree with Mike, the ultra impressive Arabella's Muse, the 3 over the 6 and the 1. And in the nightcap, I went to the 5, I Think So, over the 1 and the 9.
All right, that'll do it for the Kentucky Derby edition.
There we go.
Oh, no, here's our Kentucky Derby picks.
There's
That's right, too.
Yep.
There's a recap of, I got 5, 17, and 18. I like California Chrome to win it, but the 17 interests me, Commanding Curve, kind of a Churchill Downs horse.
And up should be mine. There we go. I went way to the outside. Wicked Strong over California Chrome and Samrat. Samrat's one to keep an eye on.
Yes, no, he's a cool horse. He runs some big races in New York, and we'll see if he transfers that into good races at Churchill. Now, thank you for joining us here on Handicapper's Corner. That'll do it for this edition. Just a quick reminder that if you can't make it to the track, try and get in here. It could be a little crowded.
It will be crowded, but
get on in here.
Super fun atmosphere. I mean, last year we had people sitting on milk crates. It was like jammed to the rafters. It was so fun.
It's way more fun when you're in a group of people, a big group of people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the atmosphere in here just gets crazy on Derby Day. Can't wait. About 24 hours from right now, we will be watching it.
Yes, we will. And don't forget, racing resumes Sunday at Hastings. We do have 8 races on tap in the Sunday, May the 4th program, so please join us for that edition of Handicapper's Corner. On behalf of Drew, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
It's all right, of course it all depends if it read last night.
I know it's Valentine, the morning works.
Look